You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Made something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the vision. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the vision. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome in. How you doing out there? Are you ready? I'm ready. I got some new background here. That Raw wants us to understand, to come in to play in our everyday lives. Raw wants us to know that the energy within us and all around us is just that powerful that we can create our world. And you go, what? Everything around us is quantum. Everything around us is energy. Every single little particle that flows in the universe is real. And that's all Ra wants you to know. Ra wants you to know about time, space, and space-time. Ra wants you to recall where your higher being came from. It came from that space, that quantum space where everything is all the same. That you're in a place where time exists so that you could have every single active part of your life. Every activity, every situation, every circumstance. Ra says, you know, the polarity of everything, the higher and the lower, it's there for you, so you make a choice. It's there for you to feel, to see, to be, to become, to expand, and is part of our journey. And every entity that has come and that has channeled to you is giving you bits and pieces of it. The puzzle that actually changes. and then grows and expands some more. You know what the divine told me today? The divine told me that the universe is constantly changing. Therefore, the way scientists seen it in 1965 is so different than the way they see it right now in 2005. It's going to keep expanding and exploding so that the way the scientists see it in 2035 is going to be even more in depth than in tune. And that's what's channeling to us, helping us to understand, to do all of it. So are you ready? I'm ready. Like that, like I tell my dog, are you ready, Freddie? Even though his name isn't Freddie. I say, are you ready, Freddie? And he gives me those. Over to you, Marcus.
Are we ready? We got the big one, the sacral. Enjoy, if you may, as we open up this space. We clear our sacral energy center, or orange center, and open up to our creativity, our vitality, and our Mother Earth
We
energy.
can observe. I'll be right back. Here we are. Can you hear me?
Did you hear me? If you feel called in this moment, feel free, anybody, to take a moment and take some deep breaths. Take some slow, intimate breaths with the self. If you haven't been able to ground yourself today, if you haven't been able to slow down from your busy day, if you haven't been able to regulate, this is an opportunity for you to take that with the breath. Give yourself that love, give yourself that nurturing, and bring it to center. And with that, I trust that there will be clarity, truth, and resonation today in this space for those that are ready to receive these frequencies. And may these frequencies continue to stay ready for all those that become ready to receive. And with that, everybody enjoy the episode. Thank you for joining us. Episode 81 of this beautiful series, studying the raw material law of one. Book number 3, finishing up on book 3, that is. We have been really deep diving. And before we continue forward in this book 3 of the series, let's go ahead and see where we left off last week, and then we shall continue forward.
Through the concrete, you see the ropes. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome. Welcome in. Let's join the raw experience.
Some knowledge to take very slow and observe very well. I feel like there's some really, really good golden keys in there. And oh man, one of it kind of reminds me of the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, speaking of mental transmutation or spiritual transmutation as well in our daily life. And with that, when you study these principles, these laws, you can come into a newfound awareness of how you can maneuver with your free will
there
throughout.
The intention was there, just like when we read in the divine design. Intention was created. That polarity of intention was created. And what Ra is telling the observer is, yes, if a 6 density entity comes and takes a physical form, and it's in the learn teach position, or the teach learn position, or space time, or it's time space, that's where it is that it has to learn. And sometimes if you're in the negative polarity, if you're in that negative polarity, that's where you've got to learn. I'm just saying. Over to you, Marcus. I'm just saying.
Over to me. I'm over here rhyming with a puppy, and what a beautiful flow.
And ooh, I'm going to stop it right there before I give Ra's answer, because look what he just shared with us. Can you share some information? Ooh, I like it. Mama likes the information.
Yeah, so what you were just reading about with the different I guess bodies or layers of the self, it kind of brought me and led me to what I've kind of been studying and sharing a little bit in my live series, Grand Rising with Christolight, and that is the 15-dimensional time matrix.
So here we are. We're going to begin. So the questioner asks, is the process in positive time space, that's positive time / space, identical with the process in negative time / space for healing? I am Ra. The process in space-time for the forgiveness and acceptance is much like that in time-space, in that the qualities of the process are analogical. They're analogical, right? Right? Got that? I'm going to spell that word because I might be pronouncing it incorrectly. ANALOGOUS. However, while in space-time it is not possible to determine the course of events beyond the incarnation, upon the other hand, it is not possible to correct any unbalanced action, but rather to perceive the imbalances and thusly forgive the self for what that is, for whatever it is. Sometimes it's not meant to be fixed. Sometimes you just need to forgive yourself. In space-time, in space, it just is. It happened. how you're going to move on from it. In time, you experience it as a past that you feel you need to fix it because it's in your past, and you need to go back and fix it, improve it, right? Okay. In time space, upon the other hand, it is not possible to correct any imbalance or unbalanced action, but rather to perceive the imbalances. You observe them or discern them, and thusly forgive the self for that which is. Most of the time, instead of judging yourself, just go ahead and forgive yourself. And then move on. Keep the flow moving. Okay. Ross says, the decision then are made to set up the possibility/probabilities of correcting these imbalances in what you call future space-time experiences, in what we call the future space. That's our label for it. We're in a time vortex in 3D. So that helps us experience things. So the things that we experience that are our past, our ego takes us into that past and thinks that we have to fix something in order for the future to be okay. But if you notice, you're either in the past or you're either in the future. You're not in your now. Okay? The advantage of time/space is that the fluidity of the grand overview, the advantage to having time versus overlapping space is that you have a fluidity. It flows where you can overview, you can look at it, you can observe it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. The advantage of space-time also is that working in darkness with a tiny candle, one may correct imbalances. A tiny candle or a flashlight, when you're moving in the dark, the flashlight can light up a particular part of that space, a particular part of self that needs to forgive itself or figure out how to fix itself. And usually that's in a surrender or a forgiveness, or just leaving it alone and letting it be, and moving into what flows after this. That already is what comes next. You can take that little flicker of candle and point it towards a part of something that needs to be lit up, and you need to observe it or take notice of it. All right. The questioner then says, if an entity has chosen the negative polarization, are the processes of healing and review similar to the negative path? I am raw. This is correct. The questioner says, are the processes that we are talking about processes that occur on many planets in our Milky Way galaxy, or do they occur on all planets, or what is the percentage? Okay, so the questioner wants to know what happens on other planets, not just Earth. Does it happen the same way? Do they experience the negative polarity and the positive polarity the same way? Do they does the positive path and the negative path, does it operate in the same manner? Okay. I am raw. These processes occur upon all planets which have given birth to sublogi, such as yourself. The percentage of inhabited planets is approximately 10%. The questioner. What percentage of stars roughly have planetary systems? I am Ra. This is unimportant information, but harmless. Approximately 32% of stars have planets as you know them, while another 6% have some sort of clustering material, which upon some densities might be inhabitable. These are all the questions we continually ask over and over again. And Ross says this is unimportant information, but it's harmless, so we're going to answer it, right? And that was the answer as as Ra was channeling then, back in the 1980s. Okay. Over to you, Marcus.
What beautiful questions by the questionnaire. Like, wow. The depth of these questions is so fascinating. To learn about how the dimensions work on other planets and if they go through polarity, just like we do here on the Earth. That's so fascinating to think about. Like a different experience of polarity through a Mars atmosphere or a Venus atmosphere or the Pleiadians, things of that nature. It's fascinating too because like I've kind of like studied about how planets, when they first form, they form, you know, at the first dimension, and then into a second dimensional planet, and third dimensional planetary body, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. And I've learned about how some of the planets that we see now, that we kind of see as higher celestial embodiments, they actually at one time were a second or third dimensional planet as well, and then had the species and races on the planet that played out the ascension process on the planet to help elevate with the planet into its higher dimensions. So you see it happening again as the universe cycles here on the Earth. And then I was watching a video today, I think it was during my live at 9 a.m., and it was talking about the root races of the Earth. Talked about Hyperborea, the Polarians, talked about Lemurians, the Atlanteans, and then talks about how we're supposed to be like in the fifth root race right now, which is called the Aryans. And I believe the Aryans have been talked about in the raw material as well. And then they say that we have 2 more to go on this Earth. And the 2 more root race cycles that we'll go through are basically like future versions of us, because we still have yet to, if you want to say, I guess, rotate into that cycle. So when you really think about cycles and, you know, how we kind of like, when we're present, it's like we made these cycles for the experiences. So when you're truly present, you're just present with where the cycle was made to be naturally. And then we're just naturally flowing with the cycle that we created together. It's such a funny harmonic video game that we're in. Video game was the only thing I could come up with. I was like, well, how else could I describe this? Like, I always think about The Sims. Like, The Sims is like the #1 game I think about. I remember playing The Sims, and for anybody out there that plays The Sims or used to, and boy, I used to love video games growing up too. video games really gave me a different perspective about life. But like when you think about The Sims, you have the character, and then you're the observer of the character basically, and then you're basically controlling everything that character does as the observer. And that always stood out to me. It was always one of my favorite things to do in a video game, was to be able to do that. And as I got older, I started to like come across things about, the Matrix, the life being a simulation, and watching the movie Avatar, and then hearing about astral projection as well, experiencing. It is just so funny and interesting. And welcome in, Grace. Good to see you, sister.
Welcome in, Grace. Thank you for joining us.
But yeah, life is a big old video game. It's a video game, movie, all in one. And then don't even get me started about the movies. Don't even get me started about the movies.
I'm telling you, every movie, if you go back and watch some of your old favorites, you'll hear a line or two where the divine is channeling through that line, or through that writer who's writing. Now, I'm not saying that the writer knows that they're being channeled through. They might have just asked for some really engaging words so that they could make the movie like pop. And the divine said, "Your wish is my command." And the divine just said, "Okay, I'm going to stick a little bit of cosmos knowledge in here for us. Letting us know, oh, you're on the right, you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm telling you, every Star Wars movie, every Star Trek movie, every galaxy of the whatever movie, all of those, Marvel, DC Comics,
oh boy,
all of them have a touch of cosmic understanding in there, so that you can tap in. And sometimes it's not made for you to know it right away. You'll go back and watch it later and then go, was that in there all that time? Did he really say that? And let me rewind. And then you'll go, oh, they're talking about divine, the law of one. They're talking about law of correspondence. They're talking about what? And it's like, I like watching TV. I mean, I don't receive all of the movie. There might be parts of the movie that's not for my highest and greatest good, and I close that energy exchange, but I take what resonates with me and I move on. Why do you think they called it I believe it's in the 80s, they started calling it boob tube, so you wouldn't watch it. So you wouldn't get the little tidbits in there. The same thing with people who say, I don't like reading. The divine can channel through me. But sometimes the divine has messages when you read books, because somebody else has gone deeper. I think Ra wants us to know that other people have been given information, and they've been given the opportunity to write books, or the opportunity to take their book, and all of a sudden somebody wants to make a movie out of it. And the information, those little nuggets, stay intact in the movie. And you go, what? I know I did. And I grew up on sci-fi. I was a sci-fi kid. I know I'm from another world. I know I'm otherworldly, because that stuff hits me and I go, got it. I got it. Right? So I'm with Marcus on the movies and the books, and sometimes sometimes it's just all dropped into you and you write your own book. I'm just saying, life is but a dream. Life is but a dream, sweetheart. What is that? Right. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get until you become the chocolatier and make your own chocolates and fill your own boxes. Who
Oh,
added that little bit? I did. So if you
nice.
hear it again, maybe somebody's repeating what I just said just now, because that was like, are we ready for more?
Oh, yeah.
All right. The questioner says, this would tell me that roughly 3% of all stars have inhabited planets. This process of evolution is in effect throughout the known universe then. Is this correct? I am Ra. This octave of infinite knowledge of the one creator is as it is throughout the one infinite creation, with variations programmed by sublogi of what you call major galaxies and minor galaxies. These variations are not significant, but may be compared to various regions of geographical locations sporting various ways of pronouncing the same sound, vibration, complex, or concept. Blows your mind, right? Basically, Ross said, yes. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The one true creator is creating itself throughout the whole galaxy. And there's various versions of infinite information being shared everywhere, all at the same time and not at once. Blows your mind, right? That an infinite creator that might not look quite like you, might have a sixth finger, might have two eyes on each side, might have floppy ears or pointy ears in a whole nother galaxy, doing the exact same thing we're doing by the divine being them, right? The divine is seeking itself in them across the galaxy, sharing time and space and time, having growth, having wisdom and knowledge, having intuitive hits, seeking itself in a galaxy far, far away. Why? Because everything is the one true creator. Everything that is, and everything that is not, and it's all the one true creator. Right? Does that blow your mind? It blows my mind. So when a visitor comes to visit us from another galaxy, I don't see them as an alien or extraterrestrial. I see them as another version of me. Just from a different, just calling home a different place. Blow my mind. When that settled in my spirit, right? For me, it's like sometimes we think, and we're phoning home to where our higher selves came from. We're phoning back saying, we're okay. We got this. We know we came here for purpose, for intent, to play, to grow, to become. We got this. Just a different form, just a different shape, just a different location in a different part of the galaxy. But I'm still whole and part of. And you get to phone home and say, see you around the cosmos. Yeah? All right, so let's keep going. The questioner says, it seems to me from this that the sub-logos, such as our sun, uses free will to modify only slightly a much more general idea of created evolution, so that the general plan of created evolution then seems to be uniform throughout the one infinite creation. The process is for the sublogi to grow through the densities and under the first distortion, find their way back to the original thought. Is this correct? I am raw. This is correct. The questioner says, then each entity is of a path that leads to one destination. Hold on. Make sure the pages aren't sticking. This is like many roads that travel through many places, but eventually merge into one large center. Is this correct? I am raw. This is correct, but with somewhat wanting in depth of description. More applicable would be the thought that each entity contains within it all the densities and subdensities of the octave, so that each entity, no matter whither its choice leadeth, its great internal blueprint is one with all others. Thusly, its experience will fall into the pattern of the journey back to the original logos. This is done through free will, but the material from which choices can be made are one blueprint. All positive polarity and negative polarity is being accessed as wholeness. Positive polarity and negative polarity is not seen separately from within the divine, from within the one true creator. The one true creator created it for every galaxy, everywhere, in all that is and is not. Does that blow your mind? That blew my mind. Ready for more? One more question? The questioner, you have made the statement that pure negativity acts as a gravity well, pulling all in it. I was wondering first if pure positivity has precisely the same effect. Could you answer that, please? I am raw. That is incorrect. Positivity has a much weaker effect due to the strong element of recognition of free will in any positivity approaching purity. Thus, although the negatively oriented entity may find it difficult to polarize negatively in the midst of such resounding harmony, it will not find it possible. Upon the other hand, the negative polarization is one which does not accept the concept of the free will of other selves. Thusly, in a social complex whose negativity approaches purity, the pull upon other selves is constant. A positively oriented entity in such a situation would desire for other selves to have their free will, and thusly would find itself removed from its ability to exercise its own free will. For the free will of negatively oriented entities is bent upon conquest. Over to you, Marcus.
Wow. Wow. Is there any way you could do a favor?
Right? I love what Grace says. I love that we can receive messages from literally everywhere. Books, movies, billboards, on sides of highways. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere.
I love
So, free will. One thing that I've really been thinking about on my journey is free will and polarity. So we're all in polarity with free will in this third dimension. But being in polarity does not mean we have to separate or view our experiences as separate. Something that has been beneficial for myself with being able to let go of attachments, impulsive reactions, impulsive behaviors for my own self is remembering the free will of others. Remembering that just like myself, others have free will, and with that free will, to trust that they will alchemically go through what they need to based off of their free will due to the divine essence that is embedded within each and every one of us. And with that, it's really humbled me lately and just brought me into a really, really gentle and surrendered space where when I know that I'm doing what it is I feel called to do to keep myself healthy, well, of service, things of that nature, the rest will really unfold with the universe. And I'm just really grateful for that space. And for anybody that just could really use a helping hand, could really use some words or a space to be able to share and just talk about experiences, not be judged, not be held to anything. We have some beautiful spaces that we hold as a community. And not just by myself, I'm a part of it, but Sandy is as well. And she is a wonderful space holder and has, a wonderful gift of light language as well to be able to share for any and all that are able to receive. And I just wanted to share this because, there's more to what may be seen on these screens. And for some of you guys out there, you guys may only know us because of a screen. And beyond what you see on the screen, we definitely offer, hold, and share some soul family based spaces. And spaces are at home, full of downtime, and you're able to really be yourself and express and go through the things you need to in order to feel like you can be whole again. So at any time, you guys can reach out if anybody needs support out there. I'm getting really big into the mental health awareness thing. Mental health has been a big thing lately for a lot of people. And, when a few weeks ago, that football player took his life and everything, it kind of just kind of reignited my passion and purpose of just mental health awareness and, offering what I can and what this community can to be able to help out and provide with mental health as well as emotional intelligence as well. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. You guys can always reach out and Actually, I'll go ahead and pull up on the screen for you guys a little QR code, and you guys can check out this QR code. And this QR code will take you directly to our Sacred Kingdom community link page. And basically, the link page is like a directory. And on this link page, you guys will find all of our different websites and links all on one page for you. So you guys can browse, check out any of our healing services. We have a crystal shop. We have a organic home product maker like shampoo, conditioner, face mask, things of that nature. And then multiple different people that make podcasts and content, and then various kinds of shamanic and holistic practitioners. So you guys can check out that QR code anytime. Check out that link page at your own leisure, and just reach out to any of us through our sites. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Grace, for I just love you. I love you, Grace, because you say it when I need the confirmation, and it's not that I'm judging myself. It's kind of going, okay, I ask myself, okay, divine, am I doing too much? Am I really listening to you? Marcus and I were talking about that before we went live, about actually the divine putting something on my front burner, like on the stove, and me taking my finger and pushing it back, going, I'm not ready. I'm not sure. And then sometimes, guys, I make myself feel bad because I'm not doing enough. I could be doing more. And that's when my ego is saying, look what everybody else is doing. And the ego says, look at all the numbers they've got. Look how many followers you've got on YouTube versus somebody else. And maybe you're not cut out for this. Right? But we've all got our calling. It's about how open I want to be to that calling. I'm just now understanding more of that. And I'm allowing my higher being to overstand it and drop it in. And that allows me to see the billboards and the commercials and the movies and the sitcoms and the books and everything that give me these little nuggets. Right? That's all Ra is saying. Ra is saying, in this wide universe of beingness, we are all being the divine in the same fashion, but just using a different nugget, or the new, like you have peanut butter nougat in a candy bar. Not each nougat is going to taste the same or be the same for anybody else. You will never be too much. You're doing exactly what you're doing in the exact way to be doing it. I am so grateful to be here, not only to witness, but also to participate. Don't make me cry. It's not tears of sadness, but it's tears of joy, because that's what, I can't go back to sleep, guys. I've awakened, and there is no way that I can ever unsee everything that the divine has shown me. I can never not see every person that the divine has not put in my path for me to serve. Okay? But as a human being, I'm allowing myself to be that way. And sometimes in the most vulnerable state. right? Because why? Because Ra wants you to know that your higher being is along for the ride, and I'm the jaguar that my higher being decided to ride in. Okay? That's all Ra is saying. Ra is saying we're all experiencing this from every galaxy, everywhere. That the Logi, us, the co-creator, us, is having a choice, and the palette is open. We get to dive into everything and take a taste of everything. We get to go into that box of chocolate, and if we don't like the way the box of chocolate was presented to us, then we begin to become the chocolatier and put the chocolates that we want in the boxes so that we experience the life we want to experience and do the things we want to do. And then even doing the things we want to do, hey, they might not feel great. That might not have been the greatest choice. But you get to sit back and discern from it where you want to go next from that. That's what Ra is saying. Where do you go next from that? If you're steeped in negativity, it doesn't mean that you can't get to the positive level. It means that you have to become aware that you're stuck in it, and find and ask yourself embodying questions. Why are you stuck in it? Allow yourself to have a moment to move. Allow your other self to reach a hand out and say, come on, I got you. Your other selves are the other versions of you called Marcus and Sandra and Grace and Lula and Leah and any others that are part of your story. That's all Ra is saying is everything is one. Everything is the law of one. And the law of one equals the unconditional law of love. They're the same. You can be in it and be flowing in something totally different because that's where you came in to learn. So if you're in a negative position, don't judge it. Don't say, oh, I'm a bad person. Say, what do I have to learn from it? Grow and expand. What I have to learn is, even though I'm finishing up one book, the divine wants me to start another one. Okay. Allow the divine to push it to the front burner, and I'll get going on that. Ra is growth. Ra is expansion. Ra is knowledge and wisdom. Ra is making mistakes. Ra is growing from the mistakes and learning from the mistakes and becoming more, which equals evolution. I'm going to have to close with that because I have to go run an errand. I have to go run an errand with my daughter, Erin. That's what that call was about. But I love that the divine, we're going to end here because the divine is going to be talking about magic and about more chakras. Okay. And I'd rather start there. I wish we did this twice a week. Right? Because this is getting good. Over to you, Marcus.
Wow. Twice a week. Uh-oh. Are you trying to say we want to go back to the Wednesdays and Sundays?
Well, we got Wednesday evenings, and I don't know.
Hey,
All I
okay.
all I know is we're like to the end of this, and it's getting good.
In
Then
the
I
comments,
believe. Pardon?
everybody in the comments out there, do you
Let
think
us.
that me and Sandy should have 2 episodes a week on a Wednesday and a Sunday? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Let us know. Wednesday and Sunday, Wednesdays and Sunday evenings.
Just like back in
Will
the
we,
day.
yeah. Will we be able to do it on a Sunday evening at 5 and 8 your time?
Yeah, a majority of the time, definitely.
Grace says, if you go live, I'll watch.
Look
See,
at that.
CEO with Cash, Olivia said yes.
Well, we'll be
We'll
we'll
be
be
working
getting
on it.
back to that pretty soon then.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do. I don't know. The divine just gave me that. The end of this book 3 and then book 4 and 5. I think we need to do it so that we can. Whew, it's not about I don't think the divine wants to fast track it. It wants so that what we've read one day, it'll still be fresh, 3 days later, so I think Ra is saying yes, yes, and yes. But with that said,
Oh yeah.
as much as I hate to say I have to go, I do, so I've got to go do the human thing in me.
The human thing. The human thing.
Yes. All
Sounds good.
right.
Well, as we close out, everybody, I just want to say I love all of you. Thank you guys for being reflections and mirrors of the one source and the one true creator that we all are existing as together. And as we close out, you guys enjoy a beautiful video. It's about 4 minutes long and it'll play on the closeout. And it's just a little bonus treat. We had some fun talk about superheroes and movies and things like that. So it's about a 4 minute video, and it is a interview with none other than George Lucas himself. And he talks about Star Wars and its ancient origins straight from his mouth, the creator himself from Star Wars. So enjoy, and we'll see you guys soon. Reach out if you need anything. And we are here to help hold space and allow you guys to be your authentic self.
One love. Wholeness and balance, love to you and yours.
Ashe.
Where did the idea of force come from?
The whole thing in Star Wars was to take, ideas, psychological ideas, from social issues, political issues, spiritual issues, and condense them down into an easy to tell story of those stories. The Force basically came from, distilling all of the religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, go all around the world, all through time, finding the similarities, and then creating an easy to deal with metaphor for what religion is. And the point is that in the very beginning, when you have people worshiping rocks and deer, they called it life force. They called it the Force. Right. That's what it was. And so where did the name come from? It came from basically life force of what the more primitive religions believed in. And then you go through all the other religions and they have the same thing. You know, it's all the same, you know, whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in religion, don't believe in religion. The issue is that you either don't believe there's anything else out there, which is a little, I think would be hard to live with at the same time. I mean, I believe something's out there, I just don't know what it is. I have no idea, or what I dare to guess, but I do know that religions aren't based on it. They're human psychological needs that have been put together mostly to create a society. Star Wars and Indiana Jones were basically put together, especially Star Wars, more than Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was just done for fun, to entertain people. And there were some messages in there about, you know, archaeology, and also about what we believe in terms of myths and that sort of thing. But the real one is Star Wars, and that was done in the same vein that what I was saying about the patron creates the propaganda, and what I wanted to do was go back to some of the older propaganda, which was consistent through all of the societies, which is mythology, but to say, what did they all believe? Because they were all, this propaganda was created independently.
Yeah.
And what are the things that they all actually believed? We're talking about relationships with your father, relationships with your society, your history, relationships with the gods. All of this stuff it's old, but they're psychological motifs that were created through storytelling, primarily oral storytelling, that explained what they believed in and who they believed in. So what I wanted to do is go back and find the psychological motifs that underlie that, because those grow out of popularism, and to say that not all, but a majority of people, boys, have a certain psychological relationship with their fathers. And that's been going on through history, and trying to explain that, to say, we know your darkest secret.
Yeah.
And therefore, you're part of us, because we all know the same things. We know what you're thinking about your mother. We know what you think about your brother. We know what you think about your father, really.
Yeah.
And those are the things that make people say, hey, this is why we believe this stuff. And again, the crudest part of that, in terms of the religious, spiritual thing, is some people have taken those ideas and then distorted them, and you end up in a cult where they're using the psychological tools to make you adhere to their society, and part of it is they have to keep it closed.
And to them.
And to them, but it's the same thing. I mean, and again, you go through history, you know, and even though in most cases you had open societies, but they really weren't, because let's face it, you were going to get killed if you go outside the wall, so let's build a wall around the whole thing so we can defend ourselves. So they were self-fulfilling, you know, isolated human events.